That's the first great idea I think you've had all your life, Ollie.
Really? I think I'm like filling a hole when I get that. It's like,
Just sit on the sofa, close my eyes, and go back to school.
that's why there's these crazy bitches out there that love being like rejected, aggravated me to do boxing or something. Like, what?
Bottom of the barrel of society, can't do anything, can barely think, takes advice.
I'm in a fucking crazy mood. That can be our hook.
I'm in a fucking crazy mood. Orange afro.
Fill up the coffee. Maybe we should leave this on the desk somewhere.
Yeah. What about prop?
Potential coffee spillages.
Yeah.
Right, let's start the video. It is actually tequila.
Good on.
Okay, so today's debate is about therapy. Having mental health therapy sessions, which I personally believe in 90% of cases, 95%, 97.5% of cases is complete bullshit. Because effectively, therapy is reminding you of your problems on a day-to-day basis, and it's filling your brain with all your problems, making you think about them all day, not focus on the things that matter.
It's valid.
What do you think about that?
Well, I think
we got a motherfucking tea.
We got to start from the root of the problem and define what therapy is. People at home who don't know, the UK and the US promote heavily therapy. In fact, I see ads for it on my social media. You have a psychiatrist or a psychologist. What is the profession for a therapist?
Psychology.
Yeah, so they study a degree in psychology, which all degrees are bullshit and don't teach you anything valuable. So they're basically no different than any other Jim or Joe. They sit down with you and they say, okay, well, tell me about the biggest problems in your life. And you'll sit there and you go, oh, no, I'm late on my mortgage payment. My wife, Lindsay, she says that, well, she just doesn't quite love me the same. And then I guess the idea is the therapist will say words to you which fix your problems. That's like the offer in a nutshell, isn't it?
Or ask you questions, yeah.
Yeah, but all that's happening is you're exchanging words and you're promised to solve a problem that you've got.
Yeah.
That's what they say. That's their service. What questions they can ask you, I say, depends on the ethicalness of their business model. Because they can either go down the route of asking you questions which help you realize a solution to the problem, but then once you've solved the problem, you're going to not need them anymore. Or they're going to ask you questions which make you realize that your life's even more fucked than you thought. And then you're going to feel pressured and obliged to see this bitch again.
And therefore lose more of your money.
Yeah.
Because as from a business standpoint, right? If I was a therapist and I was making, like £50 an hour, say, and this one guy, he was an absolute wreck. He was coming in on the brink of suicide. And he was coming in every day. I just want to make his life worse. You think, I want to keep, it's sort of like Big Pharma. You want to keep him alive, but keep him in a constant state of crippling depression so that he always comes to you and pays you that £50 an hour for you to remind him of his problems and make his life worse.
And the way you do that is by presenting them a solution to their problems, but not telling them that this solution is actually what's causing their problems. Let me give you an example. I used to have a dry scalp, and that ain't good because you get white fucking shit on your shoulders. So what does that mean?
It means the camera's about to cut out in 5, 4. Well, the second's so slow.
Yeah, they ain't seconds, is it?
1.
Sorry, where were we?
You had a dry scalp.
Yes, I did. Anyway, my mother has
Dandruff.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what it's called.
Yeah, I guess so. So I can't sugarcoat it, can I? Anyway, my mother.
No pun intended. I don't know why. That's like
that was a shit pun.
Like sugarcoats, like dandruff.
Yeah. All right. My mother, being the caring woman that she is, thought, that she'd go above and beyond to try to solve this problem for me. She'd send me links to all these crazy, scientifically backed research dandruff shampoos that have got like biochemical formulas that like just transform your scalp into this like metal fucking non-dry.
Non-dry.
And anyway, I ran through the dandruff shampoo companies like twos on a fag. Is that the... No, that's not the analogy.
But are you like sharing?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I ran through them, but it never really got better. In fact, it just got worse. Until the day I decided to hell with it. And I stopped using shampoo altogether, and the problem just disappeared as if it never even existed. And this is what some therapists will probably do, because it makes more sense for them to tell people they're going to solve all their problems and then actually just create them more problems so that they come back and they can make more money. Because at the end of the day, they're doing it for a profit incentive.
I mean, why wouldn't you? If it's your job,
why wouldn't you?
Everyone's got mouths to feed.
But we shouldn't generalize therapists, because I'm sure there are people who genuinely feel fulfilled from helping other people and do it for the right reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So now we need to look at, what could a therapist say to you which is going to actually help you solve your problems?
It was that thing you were saying about earlier where if they go through your childhood, about this thing where your entire past has programmed who you are today. So maybe it's a good idea to look at your past, go through different scenarios, what your family life was like, what your childhood was like, and then figure out how best to solve your problems based on your past programming of your now present self.
Can I give you an example?
Go on.
That's absolutely correct, though. People have studied the effects of how your parents treat you and how that correlates to how you act in a relationship. There was a epidemic where everyone thought it's going to discipline my child well if I just completely ignore them when they start crying and demanding attention. However, the research shows that this creates something called an avoidance stereotype in relationships, where, I don't know if you've ever experienced it, you're dating somebody and it feels like they're always running away. They sort of just hide.
You, mate.
Just me. Oh, shit.
No, yeah, go on.
That's this avoidance type. They're always running away. They never can fully like commit to being completely involved, because you're actually attracted to the same love your parents gave you. And if your parents shouted at you whenever you had a problem, you're going to look for a partner who does that to you.
Mm-hmm.
They shout at you. Or if, you know, they're massively empathetic and cry next to you and, I don't know, do soppy shit, you're going to look for that as well. So there are books like the 5 languages of love, 5 love languages, and people say, oh, well, just read this and you'll know exactly what you need from a relationship. But a lot of psychiatrists and therapists will argue that you need to recognize what your natural impulse to gravitate towards will be based on how your childhood was, how your parents treated you.
Yes. But I also think that can also be a negative thing, because the same thing goes for in relationships. What a male and a female will look for is also based on how their father and mother treated them.
Yeah.
I.e., if it's a male, then it'll be based on how their mother treated them. And if it's a female, it'll be based on how their father treated them. That's why there's these crazy bitches out there that love being like rejected and like just sort of thrown to the side, not cared about. It's because their dad was like, this is like a simulation of what happened with their dad. It's the same with men and their mothers. If their mothers was like super kind and caring and nurturing, then they'll be attracted to that sort of woman.
Mm-hmm.
And if their mother was the opposite, then they'll be like attracted to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it can always be a bit backwards if the parents didn't play their roles properly. They can always program the kid to be, you know, not quite set on the like normal trajectory of relationship.
Do you know, I got a question for you on that.
Go on.
Because is it the fact that we love our parents and therefore we label our relationship with them as love? So we look at, that's what love looks like. So that's when we find a partner, that's what we go for. Or is it that it wires our like biochemistry to be attracted and to feel butterflies in your stomach, for lack of a better phrase, when you see somebody who resembles the same qualities?
I think it can be, they're technically the same thing, aren't they?
Nah, because you can change one of them. If it's biochemicals, like programming, you're fucked. Like, that is what you're going to be attracted to, and you can't really change it.
I think it's that.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it's the label.
Maybe you could adapt yourself to the label that you want.
I think so.
Yeah. But I do think your natural, like, your hormonal attraction will be whatever's wired into your like biochemistry, as you said.
Yeah. There definitely are too.
Oh, I've got another point actually. Okay. However, I personally feel, and I think this could be right too in different ways, is I feel like I search more for, it's getting a bit deep and personal. I think I search more for the nurturing, loving sort of woman in a relationship because I lacked it in my own upbringing from parenting.
Interesting.
I hate to say that. But at the same time, like, I feel like there was a bit of a distance there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for me, I think I'm like filling a hole when I get that. It's like the opposite of what we were saying. Like, it's what, okay, it can wire you to be the same as how your parents treated you, but it could also, you know, like make you want what you didn't get. Yeah. That's it.
I think that's very plausible.
I don't know. I think there's probably wiser people to listen to on this subject.
No, there's fucking not.
Yeah, you know what, you're right. I mean, I'm so intelligent, mate. Fucking hell.
Right, back to the topic at hand though. I'd argue that there is cause for therapists who allow you to understand this concept a bit better, who push you to ask these questions about your childhood and recall it. Because a lot of people, including myself at one point, we've lived these whole 20 years of our life and just completely like put aside everything that happened.
Yeah.
We're just so present and like, yeah, well, there's loads of people I met, loads of traumatic things that happened, but fucking this isn't past, bro.
Yeah. It doesn't really matter.
You just completely neglect them.
Does that not make, though, it gives you a constant clean slate that keeps just renewing if you just live in the present? If you like focus on the past, then you're more programmed to whatever your past was. If you just live in the present, you're open now. You're designing your future self at all times. You're not dwelling on past things.
It's optimistic. However, I think the human body and the brain is much more complex than that.
Yeah, it's like that label and biochemistry thing as well, isn't it? Like, it's still ingrained in you.
That would be like running a business and saying, okay, well, if we just forget everything we did in the past, then we can always operate from a clean slate. But no, because you learn from your past, right? You make mistakes and have personal experiences. So I'll give you an example. No, I won't give you an example. I'll tell you why you don't need a therapist to do this. Because as we are doing right now, Ollie's researching what happened in his childhood and how that might correlate to what he looked for in a relationship now. You can do that as well. All the therapist is doing is asking you questions which force you to think about that.
Just triggering these thoughts, isn't it? That's what they're doing.
But you can just do that yourself. All you've got to do is sit down and think. So over the past month or two, I've been doing this. And my strategy is to wake up in the morning and for about 45 minutes, I'll just sit on the sofa, close my eyes and go back to school. Like, what? Go to school? Yeah. So I think, okay, cool. In our school, what did we have? We had the cube. Okay, so that was underneath the humanities block. And then we had like Key Stage 3 over there. All right, how old am I? Okay, let's go year 7. What happened in year 7? Okay, Mr. Bleep. told me to tuck my shirt in. He was a fucking prick, actually. I didn't like him because he'd always shout and give me detentions for no reason. What were detentions like? Who was in detentions often? And you just stem from there and recall all these stories and key moments.
Yeah, you know, that you just describing that just really like hit home.
I know, bro.
Shit, yeah, actually.
It's crazy.
I started thinking about like in school.
Yeah.
And I feel like how that's like aggravated me to do boxing or something. Like, what? Actually, it probably is though.
Yeah.
Because initially, if you just have to start doing something, there has to be some sort of like trigger. You can't just start doing it without thinking about something or reflecting on something that's happened. Like something happens to you and then you start doing something.
Yeah, bro.
And then it just goes on from there. But you always forget what the trigger was. You just realise, hang on, yeah, I box. Didn't even.
So yeah, there was 20 years of history which you need to go learn.
And forget all the fucking wars, all of that bollocks history. That doesn't matter to you. You just need to think about what happened in your life.
And why would you? So, Ollie, you just gave an example of the triggers which led you to box. Could have been fighting, right? If you know that, you can highlight what was the emotional experience which caused you to make a drastic shift in your life that was actually for the positive. And you can look for that now in your future. You can say, okay, well, when somebody disrespects me, I know that that will cause enough emotional damage for me to completely change the activities which I'll do.
Yeah.
And you can somewhat safeguard it. So you can say, okay, well, if this guy, I don't know, threw my pen out the window, I know that's enough to really set me off. So that's going to be my boundary now. If anyone threatens to throw my pen out the window, I'm just going to hit it before it escalates.
Before it escalates. I think you escalated it.
No, but all right, the throwing the pen out of the window has got to be the thing that changes your life.
Don't throw it. Don't throw it. Oh, you have.
Let's give a better example. Let's say I started taking heroin, right? And the reason I started taking let's say I started taking heroin because my girlfriend sent a photo of her cat to some other guy, right? I now know that event is enough to send me spiral. So I'm going to say, look, if we're going to date, there's one thing I've got to make clear. You can't send any fucking pictures of your cat to any fucking other blokes.
Is that euphemism?
I don't know what that word means, bro.
It's like, never mind.
Oh, no, I need to explain it.
Means like, euphemism means like, a use, sort of like an analogy. You know what I mean? It's like an analogy
of what?
For her pussy, the pussy cat.
Oh, it fucking wasn't, but yeah.
Yeah. I know it wasn't because you're just so innocent and sweet.
Brilliant.
Okay, where are we going with this now?
Bro, it's on track. Don't you worry.
Oh, I didn't think it was off track. I was just...
Okay, so you can do therapy. So what have we summarized so far? Therapy can be useful because you need to recall the history of your life. You can do it by yourself by just thought. Although you can pay somebody a hell of a lot of money to ask you questions to force you to think.
However,
right?
They might be making money out of you and making your situation worse subconsciously.
That's the caveat. And how do they do that? Ollie, so you're telling me that some bloke picked on you in school and you think that's why he made you bully you and why you started boxing. What did he pick on you for? Just give me an example.
Oh, fucking hell. I had a shit haircut. Still do, actually. But
yeah, you know, I think you do have a shit haircut. So why did you decide? Why did you decide to have a shit haircut? Are you afraid of talking to the barber about how you really want it cut? Are you pressured by society on how you should wear your hair and that doesn't reflect your true personality?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe I just didn't understand like hairstyles, you know?
Do you always apply this excuse of a lack of understanding for your reluctance to follow your true authentic self?
Shit, yeah, maybe I do. Maybe I should come back for more therapy sessions, give you more money to help me stop doing that.
That's the first great idea I think you've had all your life, Ollie.
Really? The first one? I might keep repeating that idea every single week to come and see you.
Yeah. And you know what? Because you're such a special case, I'm going to have to up my fee. Because you're going to be tough work.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
So it's going to be £1,000 per hour.
Happy.
That is what a bad therapist will do.
Yeah. What would a good therapist do?
I don't fucking know. I ain't a therapist.
You know what a good therapist would do is basically what we're doing on camera right now is we're talking about how your brain actually works. I mean, I don't really know too much about how a woman's brain works because I'm not a female.
It doesn't.
But valid point. But I do know as a male, you've got to get your priorities straight. You've got to get your life together. And once you start doing that and start building momentum, then your mental health will get better. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I think a good therapist would do. They'll remind you of this concept. Right?
Like that Jordan Peterson example with the guy who couldn't move a Hoover.
Yeah. I know.
I think that's a great, for reference, there was a guy who was in the biggest rut of his life where he couldn't even clean his room yet, let alone get to the gym. And he went to Jordan Peterson for therapy. And Jordan Peterson said, okay, well, let's ignore all the menial questions about your mum, your dad, and what you did when you were 6. Let's tackle the task at hand. And when you go back now, get a Hoover, clean your room. And the dude went back and he couldn't even clean his room. So he was really fucked. But I'm sure once he was forced to clean his room, he then created the upwards momentum to fix other things in his life before he could start addressing the history.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I guess another part of it is teaching someone how to build momentum until they got their life together, you know.
But I'd say that that works for men because guys are action based, logical.
Based.
Yeah.
I think for women though, therapy is probably just a good thing for the woman to just unload all their problems onto some poor innocent therapist and just have them and just have them listen to whatever they have to say. And I think that would actually help.
Me too, because they're more emotional beings, right? They don't necessarily need to solve the problem.
Yeah.
They don't need to solve the problem. They just need to like address it, talk about it, understand it.
It's like they need to like drain emotional just feelings out of them, and that sort of solves the issue in their head. Whereas it's like expressing emotion don't do shit. It's all right, still have the same issues.
I know.
Whereas them, it's just like, sorted now. I've cried. It's like they're emitting problems with their tears. Mm-hmm. We like lose tears and we're like, well, all that's done is dehydrate me. I need to find the issue to the problem.
Like if you go up to a woman and say, my dog's died, she'll spend 30 minutes saying, oh, he was such a good dog. He had such a great life. But now this is the new chapter of your life. And the man will spend 2 minutes saying, all right, well, you're going to get a new one.
Get a new one then, you dick. No, be up about it. Yeah. You know, I feel like this video won't even need any cuts. We've just been straight this whole time.
Yeah, maybe. All right, so bad therapists, good therapists, why they take you for money. You can do it through your own thought. Disclaimer that we know fuck all about therapy or psychology or neuroscience.
I think we know loads. I think we're genuine professionals in the field. Like, just because we ain't got degrees or any degree. Yeah, but in fucking economics. It's got nothing to do with psychology. It's like, what? Psychology.
Professional.
Professionals. You can't even pronounce the word, let alone know about it. All right, but I feel like we're very emotionally intelligent beings, you know? I think just speaking about this sort of things as well helps people understand it a lot more. So,
yeah. All right. So the most important thing you should take from this video is go think a little bit about your history. Solve all your problems first that are preventing you from thinking, and then go think. That's all you got to do. If you want therapy, go solve the biggest problems which are preventing you from thinking, then go think about your history.
What are those problems? Those problems that are preventing you from thinking are stuff like your health, fitness, relationships, and financial situation. So focus on those, mainly just health. If your health's not in order, that's your number one priority. Then think about your financial situation. Once you got them two sort of going, then you can think about your relationships.
Mm.
And then once you've got all those going, then you can spend time thinking, right? Just focus on them three. That's all you need to worry about for now. Once you got them out of the way, then you can worry about, if your mental health's still bad, then you just need to think. Right? That is our advice.
Yeah.
Fucking good advice, mate.
It is. Just think your way out of depression.
Yeah.
But I mean, in terms of the financial thing, I don't even necessarily say you got to be financially free or successful. I just think you got to not have a 9 to 5. You need time. You need freedom of time.
Yeah.
And that freedom of your time through finances.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, someone's going to tell you what to do, where to be, and like your life's just shit.
I know. If you can't get rich working for yourself, then go live in Thailand and, I don't know,
sell coconuts.
Yeah. On the beach.
Yeah. Mate, that's the business idea. If you are the bottom of the barrel of society, can't do anything, can barely think, takes advice. One-way ticket to Bangkok, boat to an island, find where all the tourists are, find a rich coconut tree, cut open the top of a coconut, put a straw in it, put an umbrella in it, $5 a pop. Mate, everyone will buy it.
$5 a pop is all you need for, I don't know, a day's living out there. You sorted.
And then you can think all you want whilst you're selling coconuts. Yeah. You know, I'm going to write that down.
You know, I always think no matter how bad life could get and how much of a failure I am, I can just go do something like that.
I can just go sell coconuts in Thailand.
You can literally do anything you want.
Yeah.
Just think about that. You could do anything. Doesn't matter.
Right, we need to go.
Yeah.
Go on.
Safe. I've been OB.
I've been JT. Oh, motherfucking out.